looking over at some high school conference winners now, Drew. If I'll let you guys kind of run through this if you want.
Yeah, if anybody wants to take it, feel free. I mean, there's just been a couple things coming through the pipes here with postseason getting near, playoffs getting near. I know all the seeds and brackets are out and everything like that, but some conference title winners are coming to fruition. Some player of the years have actually been like thrown out there already as well. So just a few. Like we were at the Brother Rice game on Saturday. They took down St. Lawrence to take the Chicago Catholic League Blue regular season title. St. Francis won the Chicago Catholic League White as well. Joliet Catholic won the East Suburban Catholic League, and then you've got what Normal Community is. They're
Yeah,
going to capture the Big 12 conference title as well, right, Gav?
yeah, I believe the Big 12 is done. I was kind of looking at some games just to see if they played at all this week, and it looks like they don't, but I haven't seen anything like announced officially that Community won, but they are 17-1 and they're leading the conference by a pretty good margin right now, so I would think that no one can catch up at
That's
this
a
point.
that's
So,
a decent conference record.
yeah.
17-1.
And their only
Um,
loss was to Chase Reinhardt at Normal West. So, pretty good stuff there for Reinhardt too.
That is. It's a great call out. And I know there's some big matchups this week, like to decide some conferences or at least to get some seedings and stuff like that. But like Edwardsville plays O'Fallon this week. I know the Fox Valley League has some conference games still going on as well. So more to come with that. But some player of the years in some conference, like I've been blown away the last few days watching Brother Rice and Gavin Triesenberg. And he took home the Chicago Catholic League Player of the Year. I know he was hitting north of 450 on the season. I know those awards tend to just be how they play in conference. So it's not technically their year long stats. Like you put in your conference stats. So what Gavin hit in conference, I don't know for sure. Versus like what some other guys did. And then Brandon Thompson, he took down the East Suburban Catholic Conference, the ESCC. He took down that Player of the Year award. I think Jake Matisse got the Pitcher of the Year award for Mount Carmel in the CCL Blue. But then moving down the list, like outside of just conference, champions or players of the year, a few emails that we got that I just thought deserve a shout out here. Like Bren Milburn, he's a 2025 infielder at Crete Monee. He's going to Morton Junior College next year. But we got a heads up that he is three stolen bases away from tying the single season stolen base record. He currently has 70. So that's telling me the the single season record holder had stole 73 bases in a year. Apparently Milburn's playing in a doubleheader on Monday. So by the time this podcast comes out, he could have broken the record, but here soon, if he finishes the year strong, that yearly stolen base record is definitely in threat. It's under siege, and then he also is at 165 career stolen bases, which is currently sixth all time. So we'll have to do some digging to just see like what number one is for career stolen bases, if that's even within shouting distance of where he's at. But I thought that was definitely something really impressive. Like 70 stolen bases would be an impressive career, you know, number of stolen bases. And for him to do that in 1 year is kind of nuts. And then Patrick Connors as well. I think Hinsdale Central won 6 games last week, but he had a huge week offensively, went 14 for 18, but he stole 10 bases on the week, which broke the school record for stolen bases in a season. So wanted to shout that out as well. And I believe that's a single season stolen base record. It was a little vague, so I might need to do a little more digging there. But yeah, Gavin, that was just a couple things
Yeah.
that have been coming out so far since some regular seasons have been decided.
To add a little more to Bren's stolen base record here, uh, the person who is leading, they're tied. There's two guys with 73 stolen bases. It was Jeff Burton from Odin in 1988, and then Joe Perez from Chicago. It says Lane in parentheses. Is that Lane Tech?
I would imagine, yeah.
In 2001. So it's a long, long time there since that record has been broken. So if he
Jeez.
can do it, that would be pretty impressive.
Well, we'll keep you
Um,
posted if we get word that he breaks it.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe
yeah.
next week.
But we talk a lot about the Power 25 teams. But this week we're kind of shifting our focus a little bit. I mean, obviously we had our Power 25 update on Monday, but today we were just going to kind of talk through some teams to watch that are, or as we head into the playoffs, kind of teams that are getting talked about by us as like potential Power 25 teams to enter, but didn't. So I'll let you guys kind of take it over if you see anything you want to mention. But yeah,
Well, one team's kind of sticking out to me, and we could have mentioned this in the last segment, but Morris, 22-6, they actually three-peated as the Interstate 8 conference champions. I saw them 2 weeks ago. Hammond, I know you saw them this past week. They started out in our Power 25, and unfortunately, we're just kind of off the first couple weeks. But man, they've really turned it on, and like this is when you want to get hot. Obviously, their playoffs will start next week, so. Just want to shout out Morris. They had a 3-0 week, beat Sycamore or swept Sycamore, 7-4, 10-0, and 10-1. So that's what
It's
I
an
got
impressive
there
sweep too. Like Sycamore's got a lot of players on that team.
for sure.
So those
Those to
last two
win.
games, they're like 10-0, 10-1. That's kind of a statement. And Jack Wheeler, I know I don't want to speak for Pete, but I just feel like there's a lot of seniors in Illinois right now that are like getting draft buzz that are continue to like boost their prospect status. He's one of them. Like Jack Wheeler is a three-sport stud, and I know pro guys like him, whether it's right now or after Illinois. But he's tearing it up on the mound and at the plate for Morris, and definitely catching some eyes as far as pro scouts are concerned. Really cool to see for Jack because the sky's the limit for that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Morris is a team to keep an eye on. They made state last year, and they've got unfinished business.
For sure. Like that senior core, they're battle tested, and I like them. They passed the eye test for sure. And that sweep was actually I believe that second win secured the conference title, but the third one just kind of put the cherry on top. But yeah, they're very strong, and I would not be surprised to see them make a run. But another one that I like heading into the playoffs, Downers Grove North. They made a run last year, and I know it's kind of a different group with a different identity. Like they've kind of long been, at least since I've been doing this, like they can change the game in one swing. They've had the Wolkows, the Jimmy Janikis, guys like that. They're a little more small ball. I mean, they still got some thump with like Brady Schalmoser and JD Sumby, but like it's definitely a different group. But I like them. They're 24-6, and they got some pitching depth on the mound that we'll talk about more later. But they're a sneaky one for me.
Yeah, that sophomore that's stepping up that we'll talk about later, he's really, for his own sake, like been awesome to see because he's put himself on the radar for us. But yeah, Downers Grove North getting themselves what seems to be somewhat of an ace, like ace type stuff. And then
Oh,
Tyler,
yeah.
I know you were maybe going to chime in here with something else as well.
Yeah, not on DGN, but like
Okay.
St. Francis is on here as well. 23-6. They didn't have the best week, but like I told these guys off the record, like they were maybe the most impressive team I saw last week. Saw their first win against Fenwick. Had a 2-3 week, like I said, but man, I was really impressed with their lineup. Like I felt like 1 through 9 could all handle the bat. I know they didn't have the best week after I saw them, but senior heavy, but they've got a really exciting 2027 that I'll actually talk quite a bit about here later. But really impressed with the Spartans.
And Gavin, there's a ton of like Central Illinois stuff going on in here, like
yeah,
teams to watch. I feel like it's just a really deep area right now with quality teams that are all knocking on the door.
yeah. Dunlap's 23-7. They had a 4-0 week, but um, they beat Morton in 2 games. Their 2-game conference set that they had this week or last week. Um, so big win there, and I just think they have a really talented lineup to be honest. And their pitching's pretty good too, with Davis Weeks kind of headlining it. And uh, I think they might have had an injury from Jackson Tresenrider that kind of
What?
is gonna. Yeah, I just don't know if he's gonna be able to pitch in the playoffs. He can hit and things like that, but he might be hurt for the playoffs. Not entirely sure yet. I don't think they really know yet either. But so we'll see how that goes. But I do think they're still a really talented team. East Peoria, they're 22-8. They went 3-1 last week, and they lost to Normal Community, but it was a 1-0 loss, close game. So I think they're going to be a team to watch here coming playoff time. Um, got a really good pitcher in RJ Duncan and Owen Hidden, who's going to ICC. And again, their lineup's pretty good and pretty potent as well.
Gav, wasn't that
So yeah, there's. Go ahead.
wasn't that like a 9 inning game too? And RJ threw the whole game
Yeah.
and
Yep.
lost 1-0. It's a heartbreaker, but hell of an outing. Sorry, I didn't mean to
He's
swear
like
there, but
he's the kind of
What,
kid
HE
that.
double hockey sticks?
Yeah,
I
my
think
bad.
I'm good.
I think we're PG-13 at least podcast.
Yeah, we
He's
need to
the,
try to keep it. We want as much demographic
that's
as
fine.
possible over here.
Yeah. RJ's just the kind of kid that I feel like you want in the playoffs in these situations. The kid that's just going to go out there and grit it out, throw you a complete game and get you the win, things like that. Like he is the type of guy, like having arms, like we always talk about it, is someone, that's what you need to kind of get through the playoffs. So having two guys like RJ and Owen Hidden, I think will really be helpful for them. But yeah, I mean, I see Eureka's on here too, 29-4. They lost to Tremont last week, but they've had a really good season. I mean, 29 wins, only 4 losses. Like I know I'll talk about them probably later in the other podcast, but yeah, good stuff there.
Uh-oh. He just hinted at a pick. Oh, all right. I like
Hey, we'll
it,
see.
Gav.
We'll see.
Well, you're talking RJ Duncan and East Peoria, and like to me, I love it. RJ Duncan deserves like a big time shout out because he has been dominating. He's been put in for pitcher of the week like every week for the past 4 weeks, all against impressive teams. He goes complete games. He doesn't give up hits. He doesn't walk guys. He strikes out everybody. He seems ultra competitive, and he keeps getting better. His velo basically is what it was at the future games where he's airing it out in front of 100 schools and he's letting it rip for 1 inning. He's been holding that for complete games. He's also swinging the bat at a high level. Like, fire me up. He's been kind of like just a guy I've been eyeing all spring when it comes to rankings, when it comes to all that stuff. But keep it up, RJ. Like, you're putting yourself firmly on the list for all state selections, stuff like that. And then, Gavin, I see a couple other, Central Illinois teams on here.
I mean, Iowa Marquette. It's hard not to like them come playoff time. I mean, they're 28-3. Have a guy like Alec Novotny, and honestly, I mean, they won state last year for 1A. And they returned basically their entire roster from last year's state championship team. Monticello, they're 25-6. They've got Ike Young on the mound again, and in that 2A level, having a guy like Ike Young, if he's competing, if he's throwing strikes, like there are probably not many teams that are going to be able to beat them as long as their offense is kind of crossing a few runs. Tremont is 27-5, and honestly, like I got to be careful here to potentially tip some picks for our next podcast, but they have a ton of pitching that I think is going to be very dangerous for the 2A level. But yeah, that's some Central Illinois teams. I don't want to get into it too much just with our draft here in the next episode.
I'm taking notes. Appreciate all that.
I'm definitely stealing Tremont right before Gavin's pick if I have a chance. Oh no, and you're right. They do like Andrew Dawson, Chase Rhodes, like they, and then Griffin Meeker. I know has been throwing and playing short and doing all that
Brady
stuff
Booth.
as well. Yeah, Brady Booth has been
Keep 'em coming.
Which shoot, I don't even know like Griffin Meeker, Brady Booth, like who plays short, who plays second there. It probably depends. Dane, you may know because you've seen both and seen them on the mound and stuff like that. But there's a few other teams here. I don't know who wants to get in, but Hampshire up in the Fox Valley, like they're riding the ship. They're 25-7. They're a team that we were high on preseason. I don't think that's really changed. Like, I think anybody in the Fox Valley you need to be careful with. Like whether it's one of the 3A teams, a Crystal Lake Central who won state last year. We saw Jacobs like just on Saturday or Friday. I think we saw them. They're really young, but have some young talent coming out. There's no cupcakes in the Fox Valley, so those teams are going to be prepared come playoff time. Mascoutah 18-7, led by Austin Muzo, doing it on the mound, doing it with the bat. Plainfield Central's had a really good year. They're 25-6. JT Augustiniak's a shortstop to know for them. And then Revis, 22-9, but they've got some good players. They play tough competition, I feel like. And there's more teams we can mention. And I know, like, Power 25 rolls out on Monday. This comes out on Wednesday. So some of it is a little old news at this time. But, like, Brother Rice remains at the top. I think I was tweeting out that they were 29-2, but apparently they're 30-2. So I was wrong on that coming into this week. 30-2, won the CCL. But I kind of want to just, like, two teams jumping in that I think they deserve just a little, like, holler on the podcast. Like Hersey, Team we've been eyeing all season. They've been like on the brink. Every single update, they'll beat a couple good teams, they'll lose a couple games, and maybe make it tough to put them in. But this week, a win over Libertyville, I think, kind of just cemented it. They beat them 7-3. They jump in for the first time at number 16, and they're 24-6-1. Lincoln Cossero, Keegan Luxem at the top of the rotation. They also have Riley Blackwell that's been throwing the ball for them as well. But definitely a team to know there. And then Lockport, they jump in at number 25. And we had a big discussion like Sunday night. We were going through all the teams and who should jump in. Because there's a lot of teams with really good records. And it's like, okay, Lockport's, they're 20-10. Like that's tough. That's a lot of losses for a team to be jumping into the Power 25. But if you really break down and look at Lockport's schedule and who the heck they've played, I think they've got a top 5, strongest schedule in the state. And then you just look at what they did this past week, and I think that's really what did it for us. I'm looking at my sheet here, but 2 wins over Lincoln Way East. One of them over Jack Bauer. They beat them 4-1 and 8-3. Lincoln Way East was ranked number 11 at the time. On top of that, they take down Lincoln Way West 5-1, who was ranked number 9 at the time. And then their only loss was a battle against Manuka, 10-6, and Manuka was ranked number 3 at the time. They're actually up to number 2 now in our Power 25. So like Lockport to me is a super interesting team. They've got depth on the mound with like the Trey Shafts of the world. You got Jack Sheik. You've got Austin. I think it's Wingy coming out of the pen there. He's a kind of pretty dynamic closer for only being a sophomore, but he pumps it, 90-92. And every outing I've seen from him has been really impressive. So just a little color there on some teams that jumped in, Gavin, some teams at the top, and we can keep this thing moving.